Welcome back, everybody, to the channel. This is Ender. We're going to get started with a new Oxygen Not Included playthrough today. It's been a while since I've been able to make any videos. I had some time off for the holidays, and then I was a little sick after the holidays. And I've been trying to make something, but I just haven't had a lot of time. And honestly, I feel like I'm putting too much pressure on it. So I think we're just going to hop in. We're going to play some Oxygen Not Included and get started. So we're going to play a survival world. We're going to play in Spaced Out this time. I've only ever done playthroughs using the classic version of Spaced Out. We're going to do the Spaced Out version. The difference is, instead of starting with a large asteroid and going to other asteroids is kind of like optional. And in Spaced Out, it's more important that you go to the other asteroids to get resources because you're starting on a much smaller asteroid with limited resources. So we're going to do that. And I've never done the Terrania Cluster. I've played on Terra in this classic version, but I've never done the Terrania Cluster, so we're just going to start there. As far as story traits, I'm going to leave on the Mysterious Hermit and the Ancient Specimen. The Somnian Synthesizer and the Critter Fluxomatic I haven't used yet, but I just want to have one to go in this one that I haven't done because we're on kind of limited space, starting asteroid. And I just want one thing to focus on. So we'll, at some point, get into the Mysterious Hermit and play through that. And I'm leaving Ancient Specimen on because it doesn't take a lot of space. And it gives us renewable fossil. So that's not nothing I'm ever going to turn down. And then the Biobot Builder I've already done. So we're going to leave that one off. As far as the DLCs go, I think we're going to leave just the Bionic Booster Pack one for this playthrough. We'll do the Frosty Planet Pack later on this year. At some point, but I just want to stick with the Bionic Booster Pack because I'm excited to get in playing with some of those. I just left the coordinates as a random one, so we'll see what we get. Okay, I took some time to pick out some duplicants. One thing that's nice with the Bionic Duplicant, or the Bionic Booster Pack with the Bionic Duplicants is you can select what you want to roll for here. So you can change this so you get either one, a standard or a Bionic Duplicant. So what we decided to do is go with a Bionic Duplicate that is a rancher. And their Bionic Bug is Urbanite, which means they have decreased cuisine, decreased agriculture. They have no passive attribute leveling, but that is just true of all the Bionic Duplicates. They don't level up skills the same way as the standard ones. They have XP for skill points so that they can unlock parts of the skill tree. But it's just to make it so that there are extra booster slots for you to install different booster packs for them. So we're starting with the ranching booster because I'd like to get into ranching critters pretty quickly. I'm going to try to do a achievement run on this one, so getting the hatches all together really quickly will help with that. For our digging duplicate, we've got somebody with plus 11 excavation, which is pretty good. They have an early bird attribute, which means they get some extra bonuses to all their things during the time of morning, and they have bottomless stomach, so you need to have a pretty negative trait in order to get a high excavation like this. But with the bottomless stomach, I'm starting with going to have some bionic duplicants through this playthrough, so having Ellie eat a little extra calories, she'll eat 1,500 per cycle instead of 1,000, will help offset that a little bit for us early game trying to get the carnivore achievement and the locavore achievement. And in the long run, we'll just have to produce a little bit more food, which is not that big of a deal. For our researcher, they have plus 10 science. I had to take noodle arms to get that, and that's okay. It means they have a little less carrying capacity and tidying speed, but I'm mostly going to be having them do research, and then late game we'll just gym them up so that they have higher stats, and it won't matter. Anyway. So, we're going to call it the Happy Abode, and we're just going to hop right on in. So when you start off with Bionic Duplicates, after the printout prints your duplicates, you also get 5 metal power banks and a gear bomb. And what they're used for is because the Bionic Duplicates, instead of eating food, they consume power banks. So the power banks are an internal buffer for power, and that's what powers them. And when that runs out, they stop moving, which means they stop filling their oxygen tanks. For their oxygen tanks, instead of breathing occasionally throughout the day, like our regular duplicants, and then expelling carbon dioxide, they breathe in large chunks of oxygen and refill this tank. And then they're able to consume oxygen from that tank to refill their breath meter all throughout the day. It has some advantages because it means that they can go around into lower oxygen environments. So like they could come stand in a place where there is some carbon dioxide. I don't see any in the start. But they could go in there and do some work without having to go back and forth to breathe. But it means that when they do consume oxygen, they consume a lot from a small area, so it can create some voids in your rooms, something we'll have to deal with. They also do not expel carbon dioxide like the other duplicants. Instead, they build up gunk within their system, and they have to extract it. So that is a replacement for the carbon dioxide. It's also a replacement for the bathroom. Instead of expelling polluted water periodically throughout the day, they build up gunk and then they have to extract that. We'll have to build a gunk extractor for that, but early game, they'll use a bathroom, just like the other ones. It just will clog when they do, because it'll get all gunked up. But it'll make it so that we don't have a mess all over the base. So that means our priorities are focused on getting beds and toilets up, just like normal, and Eduardo will handle it just fine. The gear oil system is one where you have to keep them lubricated, or they get a slowdown debuff called grinding gears. And so the gear balm is one way that you can handle that. We can make that from gunk later on, but you start off with a tube of it so that way we have a little bit of time to handle it. Other than that, everything is pretty much the same to start. We do get a research unlock immediately for crafting station, so that we can set up a crafting station to craft metal power banks, so that we don't have a situation where we cannot feed our bionic duplicate. But like any other playthrough, we're going to get started by digging out some blocks. Interesting, there's some automation right away over here. Wonder what we ran into there. And then we'll get some materials together so that we can start doing some building here, and we'll get the basics set up. We're going to get a bathroom and a bedroom for our duplicate. All right, we're a couple cycles in, and we've reached the point where people are starting to use the bathrooms and the cots. We got everything put in before anybody made a mess and before anybody took their first sleep, because we made some new schedules. So the difference with the Bionic Duplicants schedule is that they now have a 3-day schedule, which is a new thing was added. You can do multi-day schedules. To add more days to a schedule, I'll do it here on this default just to show you. You can put in another row that gives it a day. So it starts here at the top, it gets to the end, and it goes down to the next one. The advantage to the multi-day schedule is that the Bionic Duplicants are set up in such a way that they only need to clear their gunk and defrag once every 3 cycles. So you can have a schedule like this where they go down. There's also other ways you could do it, where if you wanted to have it so that they go to the bathroom at different times each day for whatever reason, you could schedule out a long schedule. Different reasons why you could use it. But I made 4 schedules for our regular duplicants, our standard duplicants, and I made 3 for our bionic ones. I did 3 for the bionic ones because I just want to offset them by 3 days, since it's a 3-day schedule. That way the bedtime when they go to defrag is on a different day for each one. So as I stack them onto the bionic schedules, I won't have too many going to bed at the same time. And then the standard ones, I just did the default thing I always do, where I just offset their bedtime to a different time each day so that they could hit the things that they need. I also put Ellie on the 4th schedule because then she gets the bonus from her. Oh, actually, no, that's backwards. I need her on this schedule. Let's put her on schedule 2. I need her to get the morning schedule, not the night schedule. Yeah, let's do 2, because no, let's put her on 3, and we're gonna put Nisbet on 4, because I need Ellie to get to bed soon, because she's been running for a while now. Let's do that, and then Nisbet will send to bed right now. Eduardo's still working on digging through here to get our pitcher pump dug out so that we can have water for our wash basin, but other than that, we have the basics set up, and so we're going to get started on laying out some of the more advanced stuff that we need. We're going to need a research station, and we're going to need a crafting station, and then we're going to need power to power it. And I'm laying it out kind of the way I am because I want to do the research station right next to the printing pod to get the lit workstation bonus. We're also going to take out this food bin for now, and we'll put the supercomputer there when it comes up available, and we'll move that somewhere where we can get it into carbon dioxide to get a sterile food bonus. So take advantage of everything that we can. But so right now we have the basics met. We'll get this made. We can get some research going. We can also use the crafting station to get some power banks being crafted so that we can increase our food supply for our bionic duplicant with the power banks. So there's a second bar now for available power banks, which we can monitor to make sure that we have them available for consumption from our bionic duplicants. And then we have our regular bar here. So we have everything met for now. We're just going to keep doing this. We'll dig out some more stuff, get some of that basic research done so that we can do some of the more advanced things that we need to do. So the first research we're going to do is in liquids. We're going to get to sanitation because we want to get this gunk extractor so that we can have our outhouses not getting plugged up with gunk so that we can stop having to deal with that. So that's where we're going to start. Also, I forgot to note that I put a second bedroom in. That's because our bionic duplicants, when they defrag, if they have a bed assigned, it means they'll go to there to do their defragging. They don't really need a bed to do it, but they do get the barracks morale bonus if they do it in that room. So might as well set it up. But they give off light when they're doing their defrag because they're actually processing, making microchips. So if I have them in here, I have to deal with duplicants not being able to sleep because of the light if they happen to line up with their time. So it's easier to just have two separate bedrooms than to try to work out timing to make sure that that doesn't happen. We're going to keep working on that research, then we'll get into some more complex research as we work to get a second bathroom put in that is designed for our bionic duplicants. We should have another printed pod. Oh, it's going to be 90 more seconds. It was neat to see that we have this neural vacillator starting out right here. I've never seen one that close to start, but I've also never played on the spaced out setting, so everything is kind of closer. We've already found our supply teleporter output. We'll get in here quickly and use this up and probably dismantle this automation to get some early game refined metal force, tiny bit, but that's all we really need to do some of the stuff we're going to be doing early on. That'll be helpful for sure. And we're just going to keep exploring for that. I'm going to try to do this printing pod real quick, and we'll decide what we're going to do there. But you can see here, this is the outhouse getting gunked up. That's what I'm trying to avoid. It's not that big of a deal because we can easily handle it, but we want to set up a bathroom that is done proper so we don't have to worry about that. Before we take the new printing pod, let's start the next research. I need to get into advanced research so that I can get into liquid reservoir next. So that's where we're headed. And we're going to choose a new duplicant. So our options here. So this one, as much as super duper hard digging is a nice skill to start out with, I don't ever want to take anybody that has decreased science because they're so slow to learn new skills. If I can avoid it, I'm not going to take that one. So that eliminates Ren right from the get-go for me. So between these two, I don't see anything super terrible. The increased germ resistance isn't that big of a deal on the Terrania Cluster settings because the germs just aren't that bad. And the cuisine and stuff is fine. I just won't have them do the cooking. This one would also be fine. Decreased decor doesn't really bother me that much. But I do like having the starting out with a grilling skill. It won't be too long before we're going to need that. I think we're going to bring Hassan in. And so let's take a minute just to line him up with things. We're going to move him to schedule 1 because that one's empty. Oh, that's going to, if I do that, that's going to put him, you know, that's fine. He can go to bed right away and then he'll get right to work after. Not that big of a difference. We'll go to skills and we're going to put him into, he already has grilling, so we're going to give him his grilling hat. And I think that because we're not going to have a lot of grilling to do, since he has an affinity for research, we'll also make him a researcher. That way he can help out with some research and get some of that done. And also this gives you that extra science, which means he'll level up his skills just that much faster. So we're all set with him. I do want to go in and make some priority changes here. Nisbet is our researcher, so we're going to put her up, and we'll do the same with Hassan, where we're going to put the researching up, but we're going to put grilling higher. And then the other two, we're just going to put building and digging. Now we're all set to keep going. So we're going to work on research and digging out some areas for a little while, just so that we can build up some XP. The early game is always pretty much similar to in every playthrough, because you just have to keep doing some work in order to get things moving. So I made a minor mistake, which I don't know that I'm going to be able to fix, but I figured I'd show you anyway. Power banks can't get wet, and I replaced the tiles they were sitting on, and they're about to explode. I'm trying to get somebody to go down there to grab them real quick, but everybody's busy doing other things. See if I can set it to. I think we're shot. I think they're gonna go. He got one. I mean, they're not that big of a deal if we lose them, but at least now you get to see what happens when power banks get wet. So don't get power banks wet. Does mean we're going to need to craft some more. I have some queued up, no problem. I've been doing the research and things, but we're starting to run low on oxygen, so I'm putting in some oxygen diffusers just throughout the base so we can start building our oxygen back up. I also want to go in and turn off barbecue. I had one of the hatches fall in here, and rather than try to get them out, I just let them turn into meat. But I do not want them eating the meat. I want to get it turned into barbecue. The next research we're doing is for food, so we'll get a grill set up and Hassan can start cooking it into barbecue. And just don't want to waste that extra calories I can get from making a barbecue this early on. We have plenty of time to get the carnivore done, but every little bit helps, you know? So once we get this wiring in, the oxygen will start building up and they can keep working on research while we continue digging out the starting biome. Time for another printing pod, and this is a pretty easy choice. I don't like the nyctophobic ones. They're not too hard to handle. You just have to make it so that there's light above their bed, but they're not really, not a lot of fun to deal with, and electrical engineering is not really worth it. If it was something else, maybe. So that leaves us with Meemaw. Meemaw has can't do doctoring, which is fine. We will bring in a dedicated doctor, so I don't care about that. And unpracticed artist doesn't bother me at all. So we're going to bring her in. Let's put her on a schedule right away so we don't forget. Let's see. I actually want her on schedule 2. And then let's check out the skills. We're going to put her, because she has the affinity, we're putting her in farming, but also because we're going to be putting a lot of people into farming so that we can get some extra critter ranchers going, because critter ranching is what we're going to be doing for a little while coming forward. We've already exposed a bunch of hatches to by digging up, so they're all over the place. They're sleeping now, maybe, or something, but there are a bunch around, and we'll get more, and we'll start getting ranches set up as soon as we finish the research for them. But for now, we still have to get the research done. So the early game, like I said, is always all about research. Hey, I got a printout. Oh, I got another drywall. I like those for some reason. Very, very big fan of those, so that's good. Okay, so we're going to continue just pumping oxygen into the base and getting it re-pressurized and continue doing the work here with the research for quite a while longer here. So we'll just keep plugging away. I'll bring you back if anything super interesting happens. Another few cycles, another printing pod. So as far as the bionic duplicants, I think what I want to do is I'm only going to bring in one of each model for the bionic duplicants for right now, because I don't want to overwhelm us, and I'd like to see each of them. So I already have an Eduardo, which means the only duplicant I can bring in is Ren, but he has a nyctophobic, which requires light to sleep. And right now, I'm still getting everything set up, so I think I'm just going to skip it. I'm going to take in some extra calories. And, you know, we'll see. I think we have plenty of time to get enough duplicates in to get mouths I need to feed for carnivore, even with the fact that at least 6 of the duplicates I bring in over the playthrough are going to be ones that don't eat calories, but I think we'll be fine. So I'm not worried about it. So we've done a few things. I finished putting in the bionic duplicant bathroom. I put in a washroom in here just because that makes it into a I put in a sink, I mean, because that makes it into a washroom, so we get morale whenever our bionic duplicants go in and do their gunk extraction. And I have a reservoir to hold the gunk for now. We'll set up some other things with that to actually use the gunk, but for that'll buy us some time too, that this will run without any problem. And that means that people can stop gunking up our toilets. So I have also started switching over the plumbing for these bathrooms so that they are plumbed as well. I just have water coming up from here. For now, I need to get down here and dig. I'm going to put a sewer line that just drains out down into our slime biome down here for the time being for the polluted water. So we just have to get that dug out. It's slow going because we have research still going on and stuff like that, but we're making progress. We're finished almost with all of our food research that we're doing for now. So I got to decide what we're going to move into next. I think what we should probably do is skip down and do automation so that we can get the automation that we need to build, because I want to use the stuff we got from here to set up stables. In fact, I'm going to slow this down for a second because I want to start designing that. And I want to set up a nursery with incubators, and I'm going to need some automation to do it so that we can manage it with the limited power we're going to have. So as far as our stables go, I think that I want to do 4 stables total. I think if we put them up here above the base, we'll put one on either side, and what I'll do for that is I'm just going to start and build one right here, and then we'll work out the rest of the other ones after we get this one full. So we want this to be 100 tiles long, and then we'll put in a grooming station, and we're going to put in a critter drop-off, and then we'll put in a critter feeder, and we'll put in a storage bin to store the extra food, and we'll put in a door, and we'll put a mesh tile because that's what I have, and we'll go like this. And because this room was 100 tiles minus the 3 from the door and that, it's 97. So we'll just put a tile there. That'll make it 96. 96 is what we want because we're going to have 7. We'll leave 7 in here, and that means that if there are 7 in here, we will have just enough room that they won't get cramped. And if we go to 8, it won't be a problem. So 8 can fit in there. So while we have like 1 egg in the room, it won't matter. Or if we have one that's just hatched before we move them out, it won't matter. And that's why I like to do 1 less than what the room can hold. And so that means if we get 4 rooms, we'll have a total of 28 hatches laying eggs that we can send off to the nursery and produce meat for us. And that will be more than enough to provide for a colony of about 20 people, which is what we're going to get up to because we need 20 for the achievement. So for now, we're going to keep this getting built. I think I'm going to set the priority on this room, at least this section of it, just so that I can get a space for the hatches to go. And then I can start wrangling them because we do have, Eduardo has the ranching booster, and we have our Mima is getting about halfway towards being able to get critter ranching. So we'll be able to move hatches around pretty soon. And we have a bunch of them we've dug out. And as we continue to dig out the starting biome, we're going to get more and more of them. All right, we're at our last printing pod decision for this episode. We're going to bring in Nicola. I don't want to bring in Bert because he's a narcoleptic. And these two are kind of similar, but this one has the extra science, which means they'll level up faster. And the farming's nice, but I'm not going to use farming until we finish locavore anyway. So we're going to go with this one. So let's schedule them out. 3 is the next one that we need. I guess it's any of them, but let's put them on 3 because that's the one that's currently just started its shift. And then we'll go to skill points. Hassan has finished one. I'm going to put field research in. I'm going to leave his cook hat on, though, because he's a cook. I'm going to give farming to Nicola. And so what we've done is I got a starter section for the hatches going. We've queued up them getting wrangled up to take up there, and we've started building out our nursery down here. I deconstructed all the automation wires over here just to get a little bit of refined metal from it. We'll have to make some more. But what we're going to set is we're going to do hatches here. We're going to do an unlimited amount. And we're going to make this a low priority. This one we're going to set to 7. So if we have any hatches more than 7, they'll get put here, and then we'll have to handle them to route them. But basically the idea is that any extra hatches that hatch, once we have all of our stables full, will get put in this room, and this room is going to have our automation for evolving them into meat. So that's the goal. We still have a lot to build out to get everything done. We're converting over our bathroom piece by piece. I did finish the pipe down here, so we have somewhere for our polluted water to go for the time being. So we're all set with that. Ooh, I found another hatch that we need to wrangle up. So we only have the one rancher right now, which is Eduardo, who is currently taking his defrag time. But as we start getting more ranchers and stuff, we'll grab these more and get them put in here. But it's nice to have them all queued. I think we have enough that we will pretty much fill this stable. And so I think it's time that we start building the next one out. So we basically are just going to copy what we already did. Autosave coming around to wreck my day like always. Basically just going to copy what we already did, but we're going to do it the other way around and put it like this and like this. And once again, we'll put in a door with a mesh tile above it just to allow airflow through. And we'll dig out so that we're 100 tiles. For now, we're just going to go to here because I have to deal with that water. But that'll at least give us space so that we have another space to take our hatches after this one fills up. And they're going to continue digging out this room so that it's the right amount of space so we don't have anybody cramped. And we'll just keep working on getting all the hatches together so that we can get them fed. I set it to sedimentary rock, which is what we need in order to turn the hatches to stone hatches, which is our end game goal. And in order to do that, we have to get some sedimentary rock, which is another reason I came down here. There is a bunch of that in this slime biome, so I'm going to dig through here and get a bunch of it for us so that we can use it. That'll also get us some gold, which we can use as well. And we're basically just going to dig this whole biome out and let this turn into one big polluted water pit while we collect all the resources in it. But so for the moment, we have a lot of digging to do, a lot more research to do. Just keep going on with it. It's a pretty standard start, and hopefully we can get things set up so that things are on track, and then we can start messing around with some of the more Bionic Booster Pack stuff in the later episodes once we get through the basics of the playthrough. Hope you enjoyed watching this one. I'm going to call it here because we're right around the 30-minute mark, and we'll come back in the next one and hopefully work on getting our carnivore achievement done. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.